All right, so now let's see in this video, what if there are many categories, many items to be considered over time. For example, if I take order date and let's say sales and I go for show me, it's obviously going to give me a line chart over here. So let me start with the line chart. Now, let's say apart from sales, I want to represent profit over here. There are two ways of doing it. One is I can take the profit and put it up over here, which is going to give me two diagrams over here. Now, there's something called as dual axis, which can be activated over here so that both the lines can be seen here. At this point of time, what I'll do is I'll just click on this drop down, and as we discussed in the previous video, we'll just move on to the monthly level chart over here. And let's say I click on this sum of profit and click on this particular part, which is called as dual axis. What I'll do is there are two things present on the y-axis. One is sales, the other one is profit. I'll click on the rightmost portion over here, the drop down, and click on something called as dual axis. The moment I click on dual axis, two things happen automatically. One is both profit and sales have come up over here on the same chart. Okay. And they are given colors over here, which can of course be edited. You can, click on this item, and in fact, you can click over here as well and edit colors. So you want to go for profit, let's say on this color, and sales on, let's say on this particular brown color. And if I just apply it and see how it looks like this. Right now, I would agree that it looks slightly clumsy over here because, the graphs are going up and down like anything. We can think about it. How can we represent this? For example, if I just take it on week and month. So if on a week level, this obviously goes something like this. But if I just click on this and let's say keep it to, let's say, quarter level, then I think it's very easily, comparable over here, that we can easily see that the profit is, in fact, the profit is this particular portion. That is the orange one is profit and the dark brown one is my sales. This is how generally we can go ahead and put in multiple items if we have to see them on a timely basis, on a timeline manner over here. Now, as this we have seen over here is basically on a dual axis basis. Dual axis would mean that there are two y-axis over here. And if two y-axis are there, then in that case, the two y-axis must be, of the same, somewhere on the same unit. For example, if you look at the profit and sales, both of them are represented on the almost same numerical, scale. But instead of profit, if I take it out and put it, let's say, quantity, right? And if I try and go for a dual axis over here, we can just see that the dual axis will have different level of range here because the quantities are in 100 and the sales are in, let's say, million or at least 100,000 over here. Here, what we can do is if the categories are such that they are of different scales, for example, quantity with sales or quantity with profit, we can keep the second y-axis which is being represented over here. As you can see, this is where the second y-axis can be represented. But if you're going for, let's say, something called as profit, sales and profit, and the good thing about these two, right? The good thing about these two is that both of them are on the same scale. That is, both of them are in 100,000s or probably or similar kind of units over here. So if you just look at it, we can either right click over here and synchronize the axis. The moment we synchronize the axis, synchronization will keep both the axis units absolutely same. As you can see, the profit has come down now because now the profit obviously will be in thousands and the sales will be in 100,000s. Okay. So now once we have done it, we can probably, now it depends upon you whether you want to go for mark labels. Are you activating the mark labels? If you're activating the mark labels on both of them, in fact, I'll just click on this and I'll click on more activating mark labels. If you're activating mark labels on both of them, we can actually get rid of one of the axes. We can just right click on this and uncheck this show header. That way the other axis is no longer there. In fact, using this, we can just uncheck the other axis as well if you're going for the, headers over. So if we click on this thing, if we do this, if we go for removing the axis, we can actually use the mark labels over here and avoid the need of any one of the y-axis over here. Now I can see the data based on every quarter over here, right? And yeah, this is seen. If I just go for another plus, we can go for the sales on a monthly level, right? If you go further down, we can see sales and profit both on the daily level. But now I would suggest to put in the axis and get rid of the labels because the labels are becoming clumsy now, they're overlapping, right? So it depends upon what we exactly do, right? What is the level of drill down that we do on the data. One point to note over here is that the moment I go for a dual axis, there'll be marks will be created for both of them. For example, there's marks created for, these are the 5 to 6 items which are created for sum of sales, this one, and the same set of marks are created for sum of profit, and there's another mark which is created for all of them. Okay, so this is something that you guys need to remember before you plot multiple things on the y-axis. Now there is a method of putting multiple things over here. We can still go for multiple things, right? For example, if I just remove the dual axis portion over here and keep both the graphs on different scale, now I can put as many things as I want. I can, then represent all three of them on number line over here. This is another way of representing multiple items over time. All right. The same thing can happen. All of them are actually different diagrams over here for sales over time, profit over time, and quantity over time. This is the way through which I can represent all three of them, all the three major numerical units, and still can, make sense of the graph. Now, in the next video, we'll move on to distribution. Let's see what kind of diagrams will help us see the distributions clearly.